We are at the point of sale in the invoicing screen. Now, if what we care about the most is speed, if we have a high volume store with a lot of customers coming in, we can process a transaction very quickly with XpertMart. With F5, we can input the item that the customer is buying. In this case, a white Calanda size 5 shoe. F6, we can specify the quantity to say the customer is buying 2 of these. And with F7, we can define a discount, let's say 15%. Now, if I need to widen the size of this column, I can. Or if I want to move some of these columns around, I can move the quantity column down to there if I'd like. F10, take the payment type, let's say it's going to be cash. The customer owes $82.53. The customer is buying 2 items. Out of those $82.53, $6.11 are tax. Now, the different types of tax zones and tax types and tax configurations, whether it's included in the price, not included in the price, that is another topic that we will see later on. At 12, I'm ready to print the invoice. The customer owes $82.53. I receive $100, I have to give $17.47 change back to the customer. When I press enter, you can't see it now, but it prints a ticket or invoice of my choice on whatever format or printer that I specify. That's if I want to do a transaction quickly. I can do most transactions at the point of sale in 20 to 30 seconds. Now, if I have a little more time, I can also capture more information at the point of sale. For example, I can keep track of my customers. With F3, go down to the customer field, and I can see if a customer is already in my catalog. If I'm looking for Elizabeth Jill, then I can, if I press J, enter, all customers whose last name starts with J pop up, and I see there's Elizabeth Jill. And if I select Elizabeth Jill, her information shows up, including address, client number. I can capture other types of information, phone number, company, and so on. If the customer is not in my customer catalog, then I can create a new entry. If I go over to this button over here, is the zoom button. I open my customer catalog. Now, the colors of all of these screens are configurable. See, this screen is blue, but the user can create whatever color screen they want. I can look at all the customers I have currently in my catalog, and if I don't see the customer, I can create a new customer entry. And I can say this customer will be Maria Fernandez, and I can give this customer, I can add the address, which is at 162 Cedar Mountain Drive, and the city is Miami, Florida, USA, postal code 33166. There's all sorts of, as you can see, all sorts of information I can fill in for the customer, but that is another topic we will see later on. If I save this customer and exit, then that customer has been created. That entry has been created in my customer catalog, and this invoice, the customer's information is already popping up. Just like that, I have created a new customer. I can use this information, I can run reports later on, and I can see what kind of merchandise is this customer buying, if they tend to buy certain colors and sizes and I'm overstocked in those colors and sizes, then I can send the customer a promotional email saying that we're having a sale going on right now in our store for those items that I know the customer has bought. XpertMart includes an integrated email system, but that is also another topic we'll see later on. Okay, back to the transaction. There are 5 different ways to input an item in a document, such as an invoice. One of those ways we've already seen, which is if I know the internal number or internal ID for an item, and I enter it, then the item shows up. I entered the number 34, and a silver size 5 Calanda shoe pops up. Now, a second method is the classic method. I'm holding in my hand a barcode scanner. And if I scan a barcode, then that item also pops up on my screen. Now, a third method is particularly useful if, number one, I don't know the internal ID number for an item, and secondly, the barcode label has fallen off. Now, I can look up an item with F8 I can open my item catalog and I can do a search. This is my items catalog. I can, with this button, put all fields blank, and I can do a search through any one of these fields. I can look through the color field, the size field. In this case, we're going to do a look through the style name field. Now, as I move through the different styles that are in my styles catalog here, you can see the photo and description, brand, price down here all change as I move down the catalog. So this is useful for the cashier at the point of sale. The cashier can see, actually see what merchandise the customer is holding, and if the cashier sees that the customer is holding a Gabby shoe, then if I press this magnifying glass here, the system does a lookup by example. It pulls out every registry in the item database that belongs to this style. In this case, I'm seeing that out of 394 items, 22 of these belong to the Gabby style. Now, with these navigation arrows, I can move along and find the item. If I know that the customer is holding a color red, size 9.5 shoe, then I keep moving until I get to, down here we can see red 9.5, and when I press OK, then that item pops up in the invoice automatically. Now there's a fourth method, which is inputting items in a matrix view or matrix format. If I already have an item of a given style in my document, then if I put the cursor over that item and press F4, a matrix opens up, and I can move this, adjust this matrix down here. A matrix opens up for that particular style. Whoops, not so much. For that particular style with all possible color and size combinations. And I see here that the red 9.5 Gabby, there's a number 1 there, the customer's chosen one. And with a keyboard or mouse, I can move along these cells and I can add more items. I just added 2 red 8.5 shoes. I can add 3 white 7.5 shoes. And as I do that, there's a running subtotal here in the matrix, and I can add 1 red 6.5. And I see that I've added 7 items. When I press OK, these 7 items will appear in my document. Now, if I want to delete an item, I can come in, I can change the quantity, I can change this down to 1. Or if I want to delete a line altogether, I can do that. If I made a mistake or they changed their mind, I can go back and delete some of these items. I see down here that the customer is buying a total of 5 items and a total of $285.97. Now, if I try to print an invoice now, the system will not let me because I haven't defined the payment. So let's go down to payment with F10. I open my payment types that I have available to me. These are defined back at the main in my payment types catalog, and I can accept mixed payments. If the customer wants to pay by check, then I select check, and when I press return, the catalog of banks opens up, which again I also define at the main, and I can move along here and say the customer is going to pay with a check from Royal Bank. And down here I can say that they are paying with check number 302. However, the customer would like to only pay $100 by check. So I see again that leaves $185 unpaid. Once again, if I try to print the invoice at this point, the system will not let me until I've accounted for everything that has to be paid. Okay, so then say the customer wants to make a second payment on their credit card. When I select credit card, now my credit card catalog opens up, and again these are entries that I've defined at the main, and I can see the customer will pay by MasterCard, and I can enter the MasterCard number down here. Now I can also configure XpertMart so that it can automatically detect what kind of credit card the customer is paying with just based on the number I input. And let's say that the customer would like to pay $100 by credit card. That leaves $85.97, and the difference will be paid by cash. Now I'm ready to print my invoice, and if I go down to F12, I see the customer owes me $85.97. Customer hands me $100. I need to give the customer $14.03 change. And when I press enter, XpertMart will print my ticket or invoice on the printer of my choice in a predefined format that I can define at the main. And that's it. That's a quick tour of invoicing at the point of sale.